Have you ever felt completely drained after spending time with someone, like they reached into your soul, pulled out your energy, and left you with nothing but exhaustion? You brush it off. Maybe you're just tired. Maybe it's just a bad day. But what if it's not you? What if the real reason is something far darker, something that looks human, but isn't? Demons aren't hiding in the shadows anymore. They walk among us, smiling, charming, pretending to care. They're not wearing horns or cloaks. They're wearing your trust. And the scariest part, you probably already let one into your life. In this video, I'm going to expose 5 chilling signs that someone you know, yes, someone close, is actually an emotional demon. Not in a religious or mythical sense, but in the way they drain your spirit, destroy your self-worth, and manipulate your reality until you no longer recognize yourself. These demons are subtle at first. They creep into your life, wrapped in warmth, wearing the mask of friendship, love, or even family. But underneath, a void, hungry to feed off your light. If you're serious about protecting your mental energy and emotional peace, do not skip this video. Watch it at 1.5x speed if you must, but whatever you do, don't miss the signs. Because recognizing them early could save you years of heartbreak. Let's dive into sign number 1. Sign 1, the emotional vampire. Imagine this. You get a call from a friend. They need to talk. You listen with empathy, patience, and open ears. For an hour, they unload every stress, frustration, and complaint they've ever had. But by the end of the call, something's off. You feel heavy, exhausted, like you've been emotionally hit by a truck, while they, somehow, sound refreshed. That isn't coincidence. That's energy vampirism in its purest form. And no, I'm not talking about some sparkly vampire from a Hollywood movie. I'm talking about a person who feeds off your emotional attention, your compassion, your silence, your empathy, until you're left feeling hollow. These emotional demons are experts. They twist every conversation back to themselves. You could be grieving a loss, and they turn it into a monologue about their goldfish dying in 5th grade. As if that's more important than your pain, they interrupt. They dominate the dialogue. They never ask how you are, and even if they do, it's just a gateway to talk more about them. What's worse, they act like they're the victim, always. You're just the emotional dumping ground, and slowly you stop sharing. You stop feeling seen, until one day you realize you don't recognize your own voice anymore. That's not friendship. That's spiritual theft, and this is just the beginning. In the next part, we'll uncover the second chilling sign, a manipulative move so subtle you might not even know it's happening until it's too late. So now you've seen the first clear sign, emotional vampires disguised as loved ones. But here's something even darker. While they drain your energy, have you noticed they seem to glow? It's eerie when you think about it. While you're left feeling like a phone on 1% battery, they walk away energized, even excited. As if they've just come back from a spa day, not a 1-hour venting session. Why? Because they've been feeding on you. These demons don't create emotional energy. They consume it. Like spiritual parasites, they need hosts to survive. And unfortunately, that host is often you. Now, compare that with how you feel after time with true friends. Sure, you might be tired, but it's the good kind of tired. You feel connected, seen, fulfilled, maybe even joyful. That's what genuine human interaction feels like, a two-way flow of emotional energy. But with demons, there's no exchange. It's a one-way drain. You give, they take. And when they leave you hollow, mentally, emotionally, and sometimes even physically. So how do you know for sure? Here's a simple but powerful test, an energy check. Before meeting someone, take a moment to scan your inner world. How's your energy level, your mood, your mental clarity? Then, after the interaction, pause again, reflect honestly. If you consistently feel emotionally drained, downcast, or strangely anxious after seeing this person, that's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. That's a warning. And no, this isn't you being too sensitive. It's not about weak boundaries or overthinking. These are lies they've conditioned you to accept. The truth? That concludes sign number 1. They are energy vampires who feed off your emotional life, leaving nothing in return. Now let's move into sign number 2, one that's even more dangerous. This one doesn't just drain you, it isolates you. Sign 2, the silent isolator. There's something terrifying about how silent manipulation works. It doesn't happen with yelling or threats. It happens with smiles and subtle suggestions, just enough to plant a seed in your mind. And over time, that seed grows into complete isolation. I once knew someone, let's call her Bella. She had everything, a loving family, good friends, and a vibrant social life. Then she met someone new. At first, this person seemed like the best friend anyone could ask for. But within 6 months, Bella had stopped talking to everyone else. When I saw her again, she looked hollow. Not physically, but emotionally, like the light inside her had been dimmed. She honestly believed everyone had abandoned her. Everyone except this one person. But the truth, that person had orchestrated it all. This kind of demon doesn't isolate you overnight. No, they're methodical. Strategic. They start small, dropping tiny hints. Did you notice how your sister seemed off the other day? Your friends never really support you. Have you realized that? I'm the only one who truly understands you. They don't pull you away from people. They lead you to walk away yourself. You begin doubting your loved ones. You withdraw, and before you know it, the only person left in your life is them. And that's exactly where they want you, alone, vulnerable, and completely under their influence. In the last section, we uncovered how demons isolate you, not by force, but by planting subtle doubts that grow into walls between you and everyone else. But it doesn't stop there. Once you're cut off, they move to phase 2, control through guilt and manipulation. It starts small. They roll their eyes when you speak. They make offhand comments like, "I don't think she really respects you," or "Your friends only call you when they need something." Then comes the clincher. "I'm the only one who truly cares." At first, it might sound like concern, but look closer. It's poison. These demons are masters of emotional manipulation. They know exactly where the cracks are in your existing relationships. A tiny misunderstanding with a friend, they'll twist it into a whole narrative. Suddenly, you're questioning whether that friend has always secretly resented you. They weaponize your doubts and turn them against you. Then they raise the stakes. You're now being cornered into impossible choices. Spend time with your mom on her birthday, or help them move into a new apartment. Either way, you're the villain. They hit you with guilt-drenched phrases like, "After everything I've done for you." "Oh, I see how it is. Guess I know where I stand now." Sound familiar? These guilt trips are carefully crafted to make you feel like every boundary you set is a betrayal. And here's the kicker. They'll stage emergencies just to ruin your plans. Going out with friends. Suddenly they call in tears with a crisis that magically disappears the moment you cancel your outing. All the while they keep feeding you one narrative. No one understands you like I do. We have something special, unique. Others don't get you the way I do. It sounds flattering, but it's not love. It's isolation masquerading as intimacy. You begin to believe that this relationship is somehow deeper, purer than all the others. And without realizing it, you start backing away from the people who've known and loved you for years. Why reach out to others when it just leads to more drama, more guilt, more fights? Your world slowly collapses into a space made for two and only two, them and you, exactly how they want it. So how do you know if you're caught in this web? Ask yourself, Has your social circle shrunk since they came into your life? Do you find yourself avoiding loved ones, not because you want to, but to keep the peace? Does the idea of bringing this person around your friends or family fill you with dread or anxiety? These are not coincidences, these are warning signs. This kind of isolation is intentional. When you're surrounded by others, it's harder for a manipulator to keep their grip. Your friends might notice the change in you. Your family might question their behavior, and most importantly, you might begin to see the truth. But when you're alone, you're easier to control, easier to gaslight, easier to break. That's why true manipulators always aim to sever your connections. They don't want you loved, they want you dependent. So remember, we are social creatures. We grow through connection. Anyone who wants to monopolize your life is not protecting you, they are manipulating you. And that, my friend, is sign number 2 that someone in your life may be a demon in disguise. We just uncovered how demons manipulate you through isolation, cutting you off from your loved ones to make you easier to control. But once you're alone, they don't stop there. Next, they go after something far more sacred, your mind. Sign 3. The reality distorter. Now we enter dangerous territory. This is where the manipulation becomes psychological warfare. This is where your sense of truth, your ability to trust what you see, feel, and remember starts to erode. Have you ever had a conversation where you were 100% sure of what was said, but later the other person denies it so convincingly that you actually start doubting yourself? That's not memory loss. That's not overthinking. That's a demon at work. These types of people are masters of what's known as gaslighting, a form of psychological manipulation specifically designed to make you question your sanity. They'll look you dead in the eyes and say, "I never said that," even though you know they did. They'll make promises and then swear those promises never existed. They'll move your belongings around and then calmly suggest, "You probably just misplaced it, but you didn't." And you know you didn't, yet you hesitate, you second-guess yourself. And that's exactly what they want. What makes this manipulation so insidious is how they flip the script during arguments. You come to them, hurt by something they did, trying to explain your feelings in a calm and respectful way. And somehow, by the end of the conversation, you're the one apologizing. It's like emotional judo. They use your own words, your own emotions, your own pain against you. They are revisionist historians, experts at rewriting the past to serve their current agenda. They'll say, "I've always supported your dreams," even though they've sabotaged you behind closed doors. Or, "I've never liked that friend of yours," even though they acted friendly with them just yesterday. They manipulate your memories like clay, shaping them into whatever story makes them look good and you look confused. The most chilling part: they don't attack when you're strong. They wait. They wait for when you're tired, overwhelmed, anxious. When life already feels too heavy, that's when they strike, because that's when your defenses are weakest. And slowly you begin to doubt yourself. You think, maybe I am being too sensitive. Maybe I imagined that whole conversation. Maybe it's my fault. And once you start believing that, they've won. Because now they've taken over your inner compass. You no longer trust your thoughts, your memories, or your instincts. And that makes you even more dependent on them to tell you what's real. It's psychological imprisonment, and it's terrifying. There's one powerful tool you can use to protect yourself from this kind of manipulation: a private journal. Yes, it sounds simple, but it's one of the strongest defenses against gaslighting. Write things down. Keep a record of important conversations, promises made, arguments had. Write the date. Include details. Be specific, because when your reality starts to shift under their influence, that journal becomes your anchor. It reminds you, no, I'm not imagining things. Yes, I do remember that clearly. This is real. And more importantly, it gives you proof, not for them, but for yourself. Remember, Truth is power. And when someone tries to bend your reality, your written truth becomes your greatest weapon. So we just discussed how reality distortion, gaslighting, can leave you questioning your own memories and sanity. But once your sense of truth is shaken, these demons often escalate things with something even more destabilizing. Sign 4. The Jekyll and Hyde personality. Have you ever felt like you were living with two different people inside one body? One moment, they're warm, funny, affectionate. The next, they're ice-cold, cutting, even cruel, and you're left confused, trying to figure out which version of them is real. This isn't simple moodiness. This is calculated chaos. This is what we call the Jekyll and Hyde personality, and it's one of the most emotionally destabilizing forms of manipulation there is. Let me paint the picture clearly. In public, they're magnetic. Everyone loves them. They smile, charm, joke, and seem like the perfect partner, friend, or family member. People say things like, "You're so lucky to have them." Wow, they're amazing. And part of you agrees, because you've seen that charming side too. But behind closed doors, when no one's watching, they change. Suddenly, that sweet voice turns sharp. That warm gaze turns cold. They become distant, dismissive, sometimes outright cruel. And worse, the switch happens without warning. You'll find yourself wondering, was it something I said? Did I use the wrong tone? Did I look at them the wrong way? Or sometimes, did I do anything at all? You walk on eggshells, constantly alert, trying to anticipate the next explosion. Every interaction feels like navigating a minefield, one misstep and boom. That unpredictability becomes a prison. This psychological whiplash doesn't just hurt, it controls. Because now, you'll do anything to avoid triggering the monster that lurks beneath the charm. You suppress your emotions, you silence your opinions. You stop asking for what you need, you shrink, just to feel safe. And that's exactly what they want. This tactic, alternating love and cruelty, keeps you emotionally hooked. Just when you're ready to leave, they become sweet again. They apologize. They hug you. They say things like, "I was just stressed. You know I didn't mean it. Let's not fight. We're better than this." And because you've seen the good side, you want to believe it. You cling to it, you hope for its return, but over time the good moments shrink and the cruelty grows. It's a cycle, and it's exhausting. No healthy relationship should leave you guessing which version of a person will show up today. Love doesn't require fear. Connection should not feel like survival. This is why the Jekyll and Hyde personality is sign number 4, that someone in your life may be a demon in disguise. So far, we've uncovered the emotional whiplash of Jekyll and Hyde behavior, how inconsistency becomes a weapon to keep you walking on eggshells. But what if I told you they've planned that all along? One of the most deceptive tactics demons use to control you is something psychologists call love bombing. It's when they shower you with overwhelming attention, excessive affection, and gifts that make you feel like you're living inside a romance movie. They compliment you endlessly. They check on you constantly. They make grand gestures. In those moments, you feel like the center of the universe, desired, adored, untouchable. And then, just like that, they switch it off. The compliments stop. The gifts vanish, the warmth fades into indifference, or worse, contempt. You're left reeling, wondering, what did I do wrong? How do I get back to that amazing version of them? Was it something I said, something I missed? This emotional roller coaster is not a mistake. It's strategically designed. This is what's known as intermittent reinforcement, a powerful psychological loop where rewards are given unpredictably, making your brain crave them even more. It's the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. When you don't know when the next win is coming, you keep playing. When you don't know when they'll be sweet again, you keep chasing. And just like that, you're hooked, returning again and again for scraps of affection, even if it means enduring long stretches of emotional starvation. Here's the hard truth. This chaos, it's not random, it's intentional. They want to keep you emotionally unstable, so you never step back far enough to see the toxic cycle you're trapped in. So how do you break free? Start tracking the cycle. Write down their shifts. Notice what triggers the loving phase, what precedes the cruel one, how long does each phase last. Just seeing those patterns on paper can be shocking. You'll realize this isn't love, it's a manipulation schedule. Because in healthy relationships, people may have moods, but they don't have split personas. They don't love you one day and shame you the next. They don't kiss you in public and cut you with words in private. They don't confuse you to control you. Without it, there can be no emotional safety, no growth, no true connection. This kind of emotional seesaw, this psychological push and pull, is why sign number 4 is so dangerous. It lures you into tolerating abuse by dangling moments of affection like bait. But hear this clearly, no amount of good moments can justify systematic emotional abuse. Your peace of mind is not the price for someone else's chaos. And now, we've arrived at the 5th and final sign. This one doesn't just affect your feelings or your relationships, it strikes at the very core of who you are. Sign 5. Soul theft. This is what happens when someone doesn't just manipulate how you feel. They slowly steal who you are. Think about the person you used to be before they came into your life. What made you laugh? What dreams lit you up at night? What passions used to make you feel alive? Now ask yourself, where did that version of me go? We just talked about soul theft, how someone can gradually erase your identity without you even realizing it. But what does that really look like in everyday life? Let's go deeper. Think back again to who you were before they entered your life. What did you love about yourself? Was it your curiosity, your sense of humor, your big dreams, your bold ideas, your free spirit? Now ask yourself honestly, how much of that person still exists today? For many people who live under the influence of emotional manipulators, these modern-day demons, the answer is painful. Somewhere along the way, pieces of you went missing. Your voice got quieter, your dreams started to fade, your confidence shriveled into constant self-doubt. You didn't even notice it happening, but here you are, still breathing, still surviving, but no longer fully you. That's what these soul-stealing demons do best. They don't need to destroy you all at once. They just chip away at you slowly and consistently, and the way they do it is deceptively subtle. They rarely say something direct like, "Your dreams are stupid." That would be too obvious. Instead, they come cloaked in concern or realism. That's a nice idea, but someone like you might want to be more realistic. I just don't want you to get hurt when it doesn't work out. I'm only saying this because I care about you. Sounds supportive, right? But each comment is a drop of poison. One after another, these tiny verbal daggers chip away at your confidence until you no longer believe in your goals or yourself. And the manipulation doesn't stop there. They plant seeds of insecurity that grow into full-blown forests in your mind. Are you sure you want to wear that? I wouldn't say that if I were you. People might think you sound dumb. You're lucky I even put up with your issues. At first you dismiss them, then you start second-guessing. Eventually, that voice becomes your own internal critic, parroting their words every time you try to make a decision. And one of the most frustrating things, they'll steal your light and take credit for it. You share an idea, they laugh it off. A week later, they present it as their own. You achieve something big, they say, "You wouldn't have done it without me. It's only because I supported you." Bit by bit, they reshape your identity into a version that serves them. You used to be confident, now you're hesitant. You used to laugh loudly. Remember that laugh your friends loved? but now you suppress it because they once said it was annoying. You used to paint, dance, write, sing, whatever it was that made you feel alive. But now, those hobbies have disappeared. Why? Because they mocked them. Or made you feel guilty for spending time on them. And here's the most insidious part. They criticize you while pretending to help. I'm only saying this because I love you. Someone has to be honest with you. I just want you to improve. But their concern isn't about growth. It's about control. The real goal is to break you down while looking like the hero trying to build you up. So ask yourself, how much of your time is spent trying to improve based on their criticism? How often do you second-guess yourself now compared to who you were before? If the answer is too much, then it's time to face the truth. They're not helping you grow. They're slowly, strategically tearing you apart. In the last section, we explored how these emotional manipulators don't just criticize you, they reshape you until you no longer recognize who you've become. But what happens when you bury so much of yourself just to keep the peace? Take a moment now and ask yourself, how many parts of me have I hidden away just because they didn't approve? Maybe it was your voice, your creativity, your bold opinions, even your joy. You silenced them, shrank them, shelved them, not because you wanted to, but because they made you feel like you had to. And the long-term consequences, they're more serious than most people realize. Over time, your sense of self becomes so corroded that you stop trusting your own judgment. You no longer feel grounded in your own emotions. You hesitate constantly, unsure of whether your thoughts are valid, your feelings justified, your instincts safe to follow. You become a shadow of who you were, a hollow version of yourself, existing mainly to avoid their disapproval and earn crumbs of their approval. But here's the truth they never want you to realize. Everything they stole is still within you. Your true self, your authentic voice, your dreams, your light, it's not gone, it's just been buried, covered in layers of fear, guilt, and manipulation. But it's still there, waiting for you to reclaim it. And now that you're aware, you can. This is sign number 5, soul theft. And recognizing it is the first powerful step toward reclaiming your identity and your inner strength. Now that we've gone through all 5 signs, the energy vampire, who leaves you drained and empty. The isolation master, who cuts you off from your support system. The reality bender, who warps your perception of truth. The Jekyll and Hyde, who keeps you trapped in emotional chaos. And the soul stealer, who quietly dismantles your identity. It's time to do something bold, something powerful, something that may feel terrifying, but is absolutely necessary. Trust your instincts. And take action, because now you can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unknow what you've learned. So what should you do? Start by rebuilding your support network. Reach out to those friends and family members the demon tried to isolate you from. Even if it feels awkward at first, take the step. Real connection, healthy, loving connection, is one of your strongest defenses. Then create distance from the demon. That might mean setting firm, non-negotiable boundaries. In some cases, it may mean cutting contact altogether. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it hurts. But healing requires space. Space to breathe, to reflect, and to rebuild. And be patient with yourself. The healing journey doesn't happen overnight. There may be setbacks. There may be tears. But every small act of reclaiming yourself, every boundary set, every journal entry, every moment of clarity is a victory. Don't be afraid to seek professional support. Therapists who specialize in emotional abuse and trauma can guide you safely through recovery. Books on narcissistic abuse, online or in-person support groups, even YouTube channels like this one. You are not alone, and you were never crazy. Here's what I want you to remember. You deserve relationships that energize you, not drain you. You deserve people who celebrate your authentic self, not try to change you. And you absolutely deserve to reclaim every single part of you that these demons tried to erase. Going back now, after everything you've realized, would be like running back into a burning building after someone pulled you out. You know better now. Use this knowledge. Let it transform you. Let it lead you back to yourself. And if you know someone who might be caught in a similar web, don't stay silent. Share this video. Your one small act of kindness could be the lifeline they desperately need. Now that you've recognized the 5 signs and you've begun reclaiming your identity and power, what comes next is just, you've come a long way in this video. You've faced uncomfortable truths. You've opened your eyes to behaviors that may have kept you stuck for years. And most importantly, you've started to awaken your inner strength. But healing doesn't end here. This is only the beginning. To support you on this journey, I've already selected the next video that will guide you even further. It's appearing right now on your screen. Go ahead and click on it. It's not random, it's hand-picked because it's the exact next step you need to keep growing, to keep learning, and to continue protecting your peace. Maybe it's about setting boundaries. Maybe it's about healing trauma. Maybe it's about rebuilding confidence after emotional abuse. Whatever it is, it's the bridge between where you are now and where your strongest, most healed self is waiting for you. So don't stop here. Don't just absorb this information and walk away. Let it transform you. Let it lead you into the next chapter of your healing. Click the video now. Your future self will thank you for it. Because this step, right here, right now, this decision to keep going, is what separates the ones who stay stuck from the ones who break free.